Hello and welcome inside the Schottenstein Center. I'm Cody Wagner here to bring you this semifinal action. Ethan Timar out on the mats at the moment for the Eagles, and he secures an early takedown for two here at 106 pounds. He's taking on Huggy Williams of Olentangy Liberty. Timar has been so impressive for this Eagle squad throughout the season. The sophomore, his record stands at 39-4. He's up 2-0 here early in this match. Williams trying to get the escape. Timar remains on top for the moment. Now he's finding himself in a precarious spot, and Williams now gets the reversal. It's 2-2 now in this match between Huggy Williams and Ethan Timar. Timar now works up to the quad pod. Now Williams breaks him back down. Timar now works back up to the feet, and Ethan Timar gets the escape point, is immediately back in on takedown. Did not get the escape, rather the reversal now for Timar. Timar goes up 4-2. This has been a heavy pace here early from both wrestlers. And the wrestlers will go off the edge of the mat, reset back in the center, 4-2 Ethan Timar. Timar has looked very active here early in this match. He has been so impressive for this Eagles squad throughout the season. Only losses coming at national tournaments thus far. He rides on top here in this first period. Williams unable to build a base thus far. Timar breaking him down. We'll see if he goes to any turns here. Thus far, just breaking Williams down to the mat. Now potentially looking for a bar on the left side of the body's Timar. He doesn't have that position quite locked up yet. He continues to ride on top here. He's up 4-2. 20 seconds left to go now here in the first period between Timar and Williams. And the stall warning comes on Huggy Williams on bottom. Hasn't been putting up much action. Timar looked for that stall warning and immediately got it from the referee. And the stall warning now comes on Timar. He's seemingly confused. Coaching staff tells him to wrestle on here with 3 seconds left to go in the period, and that'll be it. Ethan Timar up 4-2 here against Huggy Williams. And the choice of Timar will be to go down here for the Eagles. Timar working out of this bottom position. We'll see how quick he can work up. Period has now begun, and Timar gets the escape point, 5-2 Ethan Timar. Now both wrestlers work at distance. A shot from Williams, defended there by Timar. Now once again at distance, there's a low single by Williams. Very well defended there by Timar. Kind of a misdirection single by Williams. Now Timar feints a shot. Wrestlers tie up in the upper body. Now looking for wrist control are both wrestlers. (5-2) Timar here in this one. We've got 1:20 left to go here in the second period between Huggy Williams and Ethan Timar. And the wrestlers will work off the edge of the mat, reset back into the center between Williams and Timar at 106 pounds. This the semifinal match between Williams and Timar. Timar up 5-2 at the moment. Now wrestlers tie up in the upper body. Timar has won 2 matches thus far. A fall in the first round, then a 6-1 decision over Emmerich McBurney in that quarterfinal match. He'll try to get it done here against Huggy Williams. And Williams looking for a takedown over on the edge of the mat. Very well defended by Timar. Timar now working off the front headlock, and the referee will call them out of bounds. Rather, blood timeout here for Ethan Timar. They'll check on him. And so trainer attends to Ethan Timar at the moment. He's up by a score of 5-2. And winner of this match will be taking on the winner of Ryland Seacrest and Aiden Dodd. Timar has actually gotten the opportunity to face both Seacrest and Dodd throughout this season. Seacrest he was able to defeat by fall at the state dual championship, and then Dodd he was able to defeat last weekend at Perrysburg. So Timar has been favorable against both opponents. We'll see what he can do here against Huggy Williams as we're just over halfway through this match. 37 seconds left to go. 5-2 Ethan Timar. Now we'll get the wrestling back underway here. Timar coming back from the blood timeout. And now he shoots in. Sprawl from Williams. Now trying to get around to the back of Timar. Timar defending well. Huggy Williams now working out of this front headlock position. Timar throughout this season has done a good job of working out of these positions, and the quick stalemate call comes from the referee, and the wrestlers will go back into the center. And there might have been some blood on the shoulder of Williams, and we'll take a quick pause in the action. It's just about 14 seconds left to go between Williams and Timar here at 106 pounds. And this is so exciting. I'm Cody Wagner here from the Schottenstein Center here in Columbus, Ohio. So excited to bring you this semifinal action between Ethan Timar and Huggy Williams at 106 pounds. They'll now once again attend to Timar over on the edge of the mats. Seemingly trying to maybe fix up a cut on Timar, it seems like. Maybe on the side of the head. And they'll get that sorted out now. And the wrestlers will come back into the center and get ready to go here. Timar and Williams here at 106 pounds. It's 5-2 Timar. I'm Cody Wagner here from the Schottenstein Center. I will once again be here to bring you that finals action tomorrow night. And Huggy Williams at the moment working off this front headlock. He's got 3 seconds left to go in the second period to try to secure a takedown. Wrestlers go off the edge of the mat. 1 second now left in the period. And that'll be it for your second period of action between Ethan Timar and Huggy Williams. Timar 5, Williams 2 on the Eagles Sports Network. Here we go. Third period between Williams and Timar. Let's see what happens. Timar now shot. Front headlock for Williams. He's trying to get around to the back of Timar. Timar throughout this match has been able to defend this position. He tried to go to a fireman's carry, it looked like, but Timar was unable to find that position. Huggy Williams continues to work out of this front headlock. Timar does a nice job to defend that. Now an upper body lockup. And wrestlers go off the edge. Reset back into the center between Williams and Timar. We've got 1:30 left to go between these two highly ranked 106-pound wrestlers. Butler ranked first in the state. Huggy Williams ranked number 9 for this Olentangy Liberty team. Williams, the freshman, Timar, the sophomore. And Timar now on a shot. That was a very good single leg shot right there from Ethan Timar. And now he tries to switch to the cradle. And he's got that locked up. Ethan Timar looking for the fall. And he gets it. Ethan Timar coming through for the Eagles. 4 minutes, 59 seconds. Ethan Timar, huge victory over Huggy Williams. He did it the same way he did it against Ryland Seacrest of Brecksville. Was on that single leg, switched to the crossbody cradle standing up, and was able to find the fall there. And that'll make you excited here from the Schottenstein Center. Ethan Timar punching its ticket into the finals tomorrow night. that a big moment there for your St. Edward Eagles. And no Eagle wrestlers out there at the moment. But next up for your Eagles squad, rather, we do have some Eagles action to bring you over on mat number 4. I do believe that it is Carson Brown. And it is Carson Brown over there on mat number 4. Can't quite tell what the score is. He is taking on Mason Rohr of Maslin Perry. Earlier this year, Brown lost a 4-3 decision to Rohr at the Eagles Nest, but a match as close to that so early in the season really can't tell the story for what's going to happen here in the first period between Rohr and Brown. Working off this front headlock is Mason Rohr. He's going to try to spin around to the back of Brown. Brown doing a good job defending thus far, but certainly an advantageous position for Rohr. He continues to work off this front headlock. He's got 5 seconds to go here in the first period if he wants to try to get a takedown late. And that'll be it for your first period of action between Mason Rohr and Carson Brown here on the Eagles Sports Network. The choice of Brown will be to go down. Score is at 0-0 between Brown and Rohr. Carson Brown has had 2 victories via fall here at the Schottenstein Center. Rohr drags Brown back down to the mat. Brown now returns to his feet. Rohr drags him back down to the mat, and Rohr remains in control as the wrestlers go off the edge of the mat. Score remains at 0-0. We're 15 seconds in to this second period of action. Carson Brown on bottom. He'll pop back up to the feet. Rohr will try to drag him down to the mat. He does so. Brown was trying to switch the position. Rohr still in control. And now Brown trying to get this escape point. Rohr stays in control for the moment. We'll see if Brown can get the escape, and he does so. It's 1-0 now, Brown. Brown went down to begin this second period, so prevailing wisdom would be that Mason Rohr will go down to begin the third period of action. And now working off. And now a big takedown there for Carson Brown of the Eagles. He got in on the legs of Rohr and was around to the back, and he controlled the position, and he gets a clap right there from head coach John Heffernan. It's 3-0 now, Carson Brown. This is a huge match between Rohr and Brown. Mason Rohr out of Maslin Perry, ranked 3rd in the state. Carson Brown ranked 5th. He'll look to come up with the upset here against Mason Rohr. A very highly ranked wrestler in his own right is Carson Brown, and now comes the escape point here for Mason Rohr. We've got 35 seconds left to go. Carson Brown up by a score of 3-1. This is the second period of action between Brown and Rohr. Rohr working off the front headlock at the moment. He'll try to get around to the back of Brown. And through these first 2 matches in the semifinals, what has really popped off the page for me has been this front headlock defense from the Eagles. And now a shot here from Carson Brown. He's going to look to capitalize. Hooking the body is Rohr. And Carson Brown going to look to come out on top of this position. Roll through from Rohr. Rohr wants to secure the takedown, but time will run out there on the second period. The referees will discuss it. We'll see if they give the 2 points to Brown. And they will. Carson Brown goes up 5-1, headed into the third period. That is absolutely massive. Coach John Heffernan loves that. And it'll be Brown to cover here in the third period between Carson Brown and Mason Rohr. Rohr now immediately gets the escape point. 5-2 now, Brown. Brown goes in on the single, switches off to the double. Trying to hook around the body is Rohr. Brown will try to turn into him. And now getting back points is Brown. Carson Brown got the takedown and then the back points. And I believe the referee is signaling 3. So the takedown for 2-7. Now 10-1 here for Carson Brown over Mason Rohr. Who would have thunk it? Brown lost that match earlier in the season to Rohr 4-3. Rather, it's 10-2 Carson Brown at the moment. My goodness. Carson Brown is wrestling out of his mind at the moment. This has been a great match for him thus far here at 113 pounds. Wrestlers now tie up here. The escape point from Rohr now makes it 10-3 Brown. We've got about a minute left to go here between Massillon Perry's Mason Rohr and your St. Edward Eagles, Cade Brown. Brown tried to go in on a single leg. Easily defended there by Mason Rohr. Rohr's got to get something going if he has any hope of trying to get back in this match. And now looking for another takedowns. Brown, he gets it. He worked out of that front headlock and got around to the back of Rohr and is now looking for back points. He works that half across. And now looking for the fall is Carson Brown. He's very close. The referee taking a close look at it. And the 3 back points now come for Carson Brown. Make it 13-3 Brown. Rohr now looking to reverse the position. Brown now still in control, but it looks like Rohr's going to come out on top, and he does. Now it's 13-5 Brown with that reversal right there from Mason Rohr, and that'll be it. A huge win for Carson Brown of your St. Edward Eagles. Rather, make it 13-6. Carson Brown, a big performance there for your St. Edward Eagles. Next up on the mats for the Eagles will be Adam Butler at 120 pounds. And a big win and a hug there from head coach John Heffernan. Carson Brown's moving on to the finals tomorrow night. And you gotta love to see that. A wrestler you lose against earlier in the season, you come back and you get a big win there against Mason Rohr. And next up, he's got to be my favorite story of the playoffs thus far. It's Adam Butler at 120 pounds. Had a rough weekend last weekend at Perrysburg. This weekend has fully recovered and has come away with 2 victories thus far. One of those wins coming against Aiden Allen of LaSalle. And you hear the name Aiden Allen, you got to recognize that that's the number 3 ranked wrestler in the state at 120 pounds. Butler just absolutely put it on him last night here from the Schottenstein Center, and he'll look for a similar performance here tonight against Marcus Blaze of Perrysburg. Blaze is so good, the defending state champ from last season. And here we go. We're 15 seconds into this match. Not much offense from either guy here early. Marcus Blaze and Adam Butler at 120 pounds. If you look at the rankings in the state, Butler ranks number 2. Marcus Blaze ranks number 1 in the state in this weight class. Butler now pressuring forward. And Butler is putting it on Blaze here early. Really hasn't taken a legitimate shot attempt thus far, but is applying forward pressure into Marcus Blaze. Now Blaze looking for a single leg, and he's going to secure the takedown there. Now it's 2-0 here, Marcus Blaze. A nice takedown, went off to that right leg of Butler and was able to secure the takedown here. It's 2-0 now, Blaze. We've got a minute left to go here in the first period between Adam Butler and Marcus Blaze. I got a chance to speak with Butler earlier in the week. Certainly didn't shy away from those losses in Perrysburg, but said the strategy going into this weekend was just to go out there, wrestle his game, and have some fun, and that's what he's been doing thus far. He's now seemingly taking on this even tougher opponent in Marcus Blaze. Blaze only one loss on the season for this Perrysburg squad. As I mentioned, won at 113 pounds last season. Butler was the runner-up at 106 pounds last year for the Eagles. And there's the stalemate call, and we'll reset back into the center here. 20 seconds left to go between Blaze and Butler. Blaze still up by a score of 2-0. And the caution now coming on Marcus Blaze. And now Blaze flattening out Butler. We'll see if he can build a base. He's got just 15 seconds to go now. He's in this bottom position. And Butler now builds back up to the feet. We'll see if he can get the escape point. 5 seconds left to go. Blaze drags him back down. And that'll be all she wrote for the first period between Blaze and Butler. Marcus Blaze up here early by a score of 2-0. Butler will defer. It was his choice, and now it'll be the choice of Marcus Blaze. He will go down here to begin this second period between your Eagles, Adam Butler, and Perrysburg, Marcus Blaze. Butler now working on top, and Blaze now gets the escape here. Butler's going to have to get some offense going if he's got any hope of trying to win this match. This is the semifinal match at 120 pounds between Butler and Blaze. Marcus Blaze just posts such an impressive record, 48-1 on the season. Butler has faced very difficult competition throughout the season. His record still stands at 36-9, and there a takedown for Marcus Blaze. He'll now go up by a score of 5-2 here against Adam Butler. 5-2 Blaze. We'll see if Butler can get anything going here late in the period. We've got a minute left to go now here in the second period between Marcus Blaze and Adam Butler. It is with pleasure I bring you this action here from the Schottenstein Center. I'm Cody Wagner here on the Eagles Sports Network. Both wrestlers now work over on the edge of the mat. They'll reset back into the center now. We've got 50 seconds left to go now in this second period between Blaze and Butler. Wrestlers now out in the center of the mat. Now they'll clinch in the upper body. We'll see if Butler can get on any offense going here as time begins to wind down on the second period. 30 seconds left to go now. Both wrestlers looking to control this clinch position. And there's a nice shot from Marcus Blaze right there. And he'll try to get the takedown. He does so. And now it's 7-2 Marcus Blaze. And he has looked so good against Adam Butler. It looks like he'll be on his way to another potential state championship tomorrow night as he's up 7-2 at the moment against your Eagles' Adam Butler. And defensively, Butler has looked decent, especially on bottom position, but hasn't been able to get any offense going as has been required here against Blaze. But Marcus Blaze, just such a solid wrestler for this Perrysburg squad. Earlier this year, Adam Butler took 7th place at Powerade for the Eagles. Was a very encouraging sign early in the season. We'll see if he can get anything going here in this third and final period of action against Marcus Blaze. It's 7-3 now with that escape point from Butler early in the third period. Now a single leg here from Blaze. He'll try to elevate and kick out the back leg of Butler. Rather, he brought it down to the mat and kind of forced Butler to spread out, and now tried to connect his hands on a cradle, was unable to do so, and now let's Butler back up. 9-4 now Blaze. And once again, Marcus Blaze is going to try to get another takedown, and the referee will not award Blaze with that takedown there. It's 9-4 Marcus Blaze. He really wants to try to get a major decision here for this Perrysburg squad, and he's going to get closer with that takedown there. That'll make it 11-4 Blaze now. And he's going to need another takedown, and he does so right there. Marcus Blaze getting the takedown there, 13-5. We've got 57 seconds left to go between Marcus Blaze and Adam Butler. Blaze has been so smooth on those single leg shots. He just kind of forces to the upper body of Butler, then works down to the lower level, and has just been so slick with that single leg. And he kind of forces you to bring your level down to the mat, and then works off to the far hip to try to secure the takedown, and once again does it there for Perrysburg. Score is now 15-5 Blaze, and he'll allow the escape point here for Butler, make it 15-6 Blaze. 40 seconds left to go between Adam Butler and Marcus Blaze here at 120 pounds. Another great single leg, low single now from Blaze, and just does such a good job of finishing that shot. Butler immediately tried to go to waterfall position. Blaze did not sit there like you'll see a lot of wrestlers do. And once again, another takedown there from Marcus Blaze. He's trying to get a tech fall here late in this match. He's up 19-7 at the moment over Adam Butler. He's got just 10 seconds left to work. And a point now awarded to Blaze. I believe an eye poke there from Butler. Or hands on the face, I believe. And that'll be it here between Adam Butler and Marcus Blaze at 120 pounds. It'll be 26 Marcus Blaze in a major decision. And a big win there from Marcus Blaze over the number 2 ranked wrestler in the state, Adam Butler. Marcus Blaze, I think that's a man primed for a state title. He has looked so impressive here from the Schottenstein Center. And next up for your Eagles, it will be Joe Sandifer at 126 pounds. And so with that loss, Adam Butler will go down into the consolation semifinal tomorrow from the Schottenstein Center. I'll be there to bring you this action. I'm Cody Wagner here on the Eagles Sports Network. In the quarterfinals at 126 pounds, Joe Sandifer lost a 2-0 decision in overtime to Austin McBurney of Maslin Perry. McBurney 35-9 on the season. A very high-level wrestler for that Maslin Perry squad, ranked 4th in the state. Ultimately came away with that win against Sandifer yesterday, so Sandifer forced to work out of that consolation bracket. At the moment, however, we have just the winners bracket matches, and out on the mats at the moment for Maslin Perry is Austin McBurney. McBurney is taking on Phoenix Contos of Toledo Weight. Last weekend, Sandifer came away with a win against Contos. It was a 3-1 win. A late takedown from Sandifer won that match for him. But now it's Contos who has ultimately made it to the semifinal. He's ranked number 1 in the state at 126 pounds. He's taken on Austin McBurney of Maslin Perry. Wrestlers work at distance in that match. That match happening over on mat number 3. I'll provide you the commentary of that match between the wrestler from Maslin Perry, Austin McBurney, and the wrestler from Toledo weight, Phoenix Contos. Contos' record stands at 41-3 on the season for Toledo weight. McBurney trying to get a takedown. The Maslin Perry faithful calling for 2. Looking for a takedown here is McBurney. Wrestlers work over on the edge of the mat. And that's it for the first period between McBurney and Contos. No Eagle wrestlers out on the mats at the moment. It's 0-0 after a close first period between Contos and McBurney. McBurney was close on a takedown late in the period. We'll see what he can do in this second period against Phoenix Contos. Next up for your St. Edward Eagles is going to be Cade Brown at 132 pounds. That'll be in a moment here from the Schottenstein Center. Right now, Phoenix Contos works out of bottom position underneath Austin McBurney. Trying to work up now is Contos. And McBurney trying to drag him out of bounds. And both wrestlers will go off the mat here, reset back into the center. Minute 25 left to go here in the second period between Contos and McBurney. Score remains tied at 0-0. And now popping back up to the feet is Contos. Now going down to the leg is McBurney trying to roll through as Contos. McBurney still remains in control. He's now working out front headlock, and now the escape point comes for Phoenix Contos. A minute left to go here in the second period between Contos and McBurney at 126 pounds. And with a win last night, rather earlier today from Austin McBurney over Joe Sandifer, Sandifer will be forced to work out of the consolation bracket. We'll see what he's able to get done. Later today, he will be taking on Jaden Cochran of Miamisburg. And Phoenix Contos down on the mat for the moment. We'll see if he will get up for this Toledo weight squad. Hopefully he's okay and able to wrestle on. And at the moment for these Eagle wrestlers, only 3 Eagles out of contention in this tournament. That's Nate Gregory, Balin Waugh, and at 157 pounds, Aiden Peterson for the Eagles. The rest of these Eagles, however, have been wrestling great here from Columbus, Ohio, here inside the Schottenstein Center. McBurney and Contos now continue on. Here it's 1-0 Contos with that escape point. And it's been an interesting weekend thus far for the Eagle wrestlers. It's kind of been that win or bust thus far from the Eagles based on results. Balin Waugh obviously has battled injury throughout the season. Nate Gregory had a tough result here from the Schottenstein Center. Same for Aiden Peterson. But for the rest of these Eagle wrestlers, it's been great performances. Ethan Timar got a fall in the semifinal match earlier today against Huggy Williams. What was seemingly an easy victory for Cade Brown, a 12-4 major decision over the highly rated Mason Rohr. He's going into the finals. Then a ton of these Eagle wrestlers in these finals matches, rather semifinals matches. Later, you will get a chance to see Cade Brown at 132 pounds. He'll be taking on Vinny D'Alessandro of Mayfield. Then at 138 pounds, we'll have Ryan Bennett for the Eagles. Up at 144 pounds, it was a loss in that quarterfinal match for Lucan O'Brien, so he'll be down in the consolation bracket. For Bradley Eaton at 150 pounds, he'll continue on in the semifinals later here today against Jake Kern of Wadsworth. Then up at 165 pounds, it was a loss earlier today from Ty Miller, but his twin Jarrell Miller at 175 pounds has looked flawless thus far from the Schottenstein Center. He'll be in the semifinals. Johnny Slaper joining him in the semifinals. So a lot of these Eagles wrestlers able to make it through to these semifinal matches, and based on some of these matchups, it appears that they're going to have success. Already 2 Eagles wrestlers punching their tickets into the finals tomorrow night. From the Schottenstein Center, I'm Cody Wagner here on the Eagles Sports Network. McBurney and Rohr continue here in the third period of action. This match at 126 pounds. This one of the semifinal matches. To follow at 132 pounds will be Cade Brown for your St. Edward Eagles at 132. He will be taking on, as I mentioned earlier, Vinny D'Alessandro of Mayfield. D'Alessandro for that Mayfield squad. His record stands at 41-4 on the season. He'll be taking on the 31-6 Cade Brown. Brown, this is a kid with 4 tech falls on the season, so certainly will be very active early in that match against D'Alessandro, at least is what I anticipate later tonight here from Cade Brown. And this match between McBurney and the Toledo weight wrestler Phoenix Contos nearing the end. Got 30 seconds left to go now. Here atop the Schottenstein Center, I'm Cody Wagner here bringing you this action. This finals, state finals wrestling here. We got the semifinals here tonight and the finals tomorrow night from the Schottenstein Center. I'm Cody Wagner. I'll be here with you all weekend. Just such exciting action to be able to bring to your couch here in Columbus, Ohio. Contos drops back down to the leg to try to drag McBurney down to the mat. And there will be a potentially dangerous call. 2 seconds left to go between Contos and McBurney. And Contos will win the match 1-0 over McBurney, and he'll get a huge hug and raise up from his coach as Phoenix Contos heads on to the finals. Now it appears as though Mat 4 has been moving quickly. They've kind of tried to keep these matches in order via weight class, but Mat 4 has seen more falls and now moves on to 138 pounds. That's Ryan Bennett for the Eagles. At 138 pounds, Bennett is taking on Vair Van Dyke of Walsh Jesuit. His record stands at 38-2 on the season. Van Dyke looking for the takedown here. Trying to hold that whizzer is Bennett, and the wrestlers work off the edge of the mat. So we've got dual mat action here. We've got Cade Brown over on mat number 3. Brown for the Eagles is taking on Vinny D'Alessandro of Mayfield. So D'Alessandro over on mat number 3 against Cade Brown, works from the front headlock. And now trying to get around to the back is D'Alessandro. Brown raises back up. He's now got the underhook over on the right side. Bennett working at distance over there on mat number 4. Cade Brown here on mat 3 for the Eagles. He's working in this upper body tie-up against D'Alessandro. As I mentioned earlier, has 4 tech falls for the Eagles, so I expect him to be poised here against D'Alessandro, but certainly not afraid to get action going here early, as he does so right there. A nice low single right there from Cade Brown finishes the takedown. He's up 2-0 here about a minute into this first period against Vinny D'Alessandro. Ryan Bennett at 138 pounds is staying at distance here early, and the escape point now comes for D'Alessandro, and a nice single leg shot here from D'Alessandro. Fending it off with the whizzer is Cade Brown. The first period for Bennett is now complete. And Bennett's match will take a break for a moment. Van Dyke went down to his knees and dropped to his butt, and now the coaches are raising his legs up in the air, seemingly cramping. There was a stalemate between Brown and D'Alessandro. Now they work in this upper body tie-up. Now break out at distance. 5 seconds left to go. 2-1 Brown. And that'll be it there for the first period between Vinny D'Alessandro and Cade Brown. Brown 2, D'Alessandro 1 on the Eagles Sports Network. This is a very interesting matchup here between Brown and D'Alessandro at 132 pounds. It'll be Brown on top here to begin the second period. He's broken D'Alessandro down and now is looking for back points. He looked to go to tilt and didn't quite secure the position. With that, allowed D'Alessandro back to the feet. Now make it 2-2 between Brown and D'Alessandro. Now Brown looking to control this clinch position. He's got the arm controlled, I believe, of D'Alessandro. And a stalemate called there by the referee. Bennett over on mat number 4 started in top position, and there comes the escape for the wrestler from Walsh Jesuit, Van Dyke. And now Van Dyke looking for a takedown. Bennett fending this off hard, and looking for a throw is Ryan Bennett. And Bennett almost came away with the takedown, couldn't quite secure the position. It remains now 2-2 between Brown and D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro getting the takedown now here in the second period. Looking for the escape points, Cade Brown. He rolls through now, looking for the reversal potentially. He'll try to secure the far hip. And now in on a single is Brown. It still remains D'Alessandro in control. Now switches off to double, and now the reversal here for Cade Brown. Make it 4-4. And we've got 40 seconds left to go here between D'Alessandro and Brown here in the second period. Now it's 1-0 between Van Dyke and Bennett over there on mat number 4. Now it's 5-4 D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro now trying to work around to the back of Bennett. No takedown awarded. The coaches for D'Alessandro wanted that takedown awarded. D'Alessandro out of Mayfield. It'll be Cade Brown's choice. He'll go down now to begin the third period. 5-4 D'Alessandro here. Cade Brown needs a takedown in a huge way. There's still a minute left to go in that second period. Rather, 5 seconds left to go. My apologies, I misread the time between Bennett and Van Dyke over there on mat number 4. Difficult to see here atop Schottenstein Center. And now an escape point there from Cade Brown makes it 5-5. D'Alessandro was in on a single leg over on the edge of the mat. Wrestlers work off the edge. We got 1:30 left to go now between Cade Brown and Vinny D'Alessandro. Brown 5, D'Alessandro 5 here on the Eagles Sports Network. 1:25 left to go now in the third period. And both wrestlers have been able to get offense going, but they've seen very even thus far. Bennett will go down over on mat number 4 to begin the third period against Van Dyke, and Van Dyke will just quickly allow Bennett back up to the feet, and they'll battle for the takedown here in the third period, 1-1 between Van Dyke and Ryan Bennett. It's 5-5 over here on mat number 3 between Cade Brown and Vinny D'Alessandro. Brown works from distance here for your St. Edward Eagles. 50 seconds left to go here in the third period between Cade Brown and Vinny D'Alessandro. And now a nice shot there from D'Alessandro. Brown fending it off for the moment. He'll lock up in the upper body, potentially looking for a cradle as Cade Brown. And we'll see if he has that locked up. Cade Brown has a cradle locked up, and he works it across and gets the 2 for the takedown and is now getting the back points. Cade Brown just came through huge with 15 seconds left to go. And Cade Brown is going to get reversed, but make it 7-10 Cade Brown. And Cade Brown will come away with victory on a late cradle here for the Eagles. And now working on a single leg shots. Ryan Bennett, he needs it. He's down 2-3 at the moment. It was a takedown from Van Dyke. We'll see if Ryan Bennett can finish here. 10 seconds left to go. He's in on a single. And he finishes it, and he's getting back points. Ryan Bennett's going to do it for the Eagles. Oh, my goodness. From the Schottenstein Center, Ryan Bennett does it for the Eagles, and he hypes up the crowd. A big win right there from Ryan Bennett, pounding on the chest here from the Schottenstein Center. My goodness, Ryan Bennett headed on to the finals tomorrow night. What a huge win right there for Ryan Bennett at 138 pounds. Man, you got to feel good for that kid. Right there at 138 pounds, coming through for the Eagles is Ryan Bennett. Rather, we've got still 2 seconds left to go here at 132 pounds between Brown and D'Alessandro. And that'll be it for Cade Brown, 10-7 victory. He'll get his hand raised at 132 pounds. Back-to-back victories for the Eagles. 132, 138. Doesn't matter. Eagles are going on to the finals. Absolutely huge takedown late from Ryan Bennett. Secured him the match. And it was the same for Cade Brown. Was able to lock up a cradle, work the opponent to his back, secure back points, and the victory against Vinny D'Alessandro. And so now wrestling action continues here from the Schottenstein Center. Eagles have no wrestlers to offer at 144 pounds as Lucan O'Brien was already knocked out earlier today for the Eagles. He lost by technical fall to Ty Wilson of Dublin, Scotia. And Lucan O'Brien will have to take on later today a familiar foe, Grayson Woodcock of Dublin Kaufman. Earlier this year was able to defeat the number 6 ranked Woodcock at the Eagles' Nest in Lakewood, Ohio. That was in the state semifinal for the duels. Perrysburg did not make their way up to Lakewood for that match. And so the first time the Eagles got to see those Perrysburg wrestlers was last weekend. Last weekend the Eagles were district champions from Perrysburg, sent 14 guys through here to Columbus, Ohio. 3 of those wrestlers have been knocked out. Gregory at 285 pounds, the heavyweight for the Eagles. Balin Wah at 215 pounds and Aiden Peterson at 157 pounds. All phenomenal years and great wrestlers are all those kids. Just great effort for the Eagles throughout this season. Balin Wah battled through injury, showed great heart for the Eagles. Up at 285 pounds, the heavyweight Nate Gregory, undersized, got it done throughout the dual format for the Eagles. And then finally the freshman at 157 pounds, Aiden Peterson, had a phenomenal showing at the state duels for the Eagles. Had a decision victory over the number 13 ranked Evan Rizzo. Was a big momentum match for the Eagles. I can't wait to see that young man back out there next season for the Eagles. And kind of the silver lining for all of those wrestlers I mentioned, they've all got a chance to go after it again next season, as Peterson, the freshman, and then the 2 sophomores in the form of Wah and Gregory. So next up, wrestling for the Eagles will be the wrestler at 150 pounds. That is Bradley Eaton for your St. Edward Eagles. And a moment ago, I just got so excited for those 2 victories from the Eagles back-to-back at 132 pounds. It was Cade Brown locking up a cradle and getting back points late for the victory. And also getting back points late over on mat number 4 was Ryan Bennett. They are both moving on to the finals in their own respective weight classes. Next up wrestler for the Eagles, as I mentioned, is Bradley Eaton. Wrestled last year in his freshman season up at 150 pounds. Rather, wrestled down at 138 pounds, my apologies, is wrestling up at 150 pounds. This season, he's ranked 3rd in the state at 150 pounds. His record stands at 23-9 on the season for Eaton. He has looked phenomenal here from the Schottenstein Center. Came with a fall in the first round, then in the quarterfinal match was able to win a 6-2 decision over Tyler Derricks of Olentangy Liberty. So it's been very good results here from the Schottenstein Center thus far for your St. Edward Eagles. With that, I will take a brief break. I'm Cody Wagner here on the Eagles Sports Network, here from the Schottenstein Center. Bradley Eaton next up. Hello, and we welcome you back from that short break here on the Eagles Sports Network. Next up for the Eagles is Bradley Eaton at 150 pounds. Lucan O'Brien will get a chance to go later in the consolation semifinals for your St. Edward Eagles. As I mentioned, he'll get a chance to go against Grayson Woodcock of Dublin Kaufman. Woodcock and O'Brien got a chance to meet earlier this season. It's O'Brien coming out with the victory It was a close 3-2 decision, so certainly expect a close match later tonight from Woodcock and O'Brien. And I'd like to take this moment to give a quick shout out to the mock trial team I competed on earlier today. Came away with a state championship, so excellence here on the mats and excellence in the courtroom for your St. Edward Eagles this weekend. It's the first state title in mock trial history for the Eagles. They'll try to add to their greatness out here on the mats. For the Eagles, I mentioned that greatness. It's been 22 of the last 25 Ohio State Wrestling Championships. 43 state championships for the Eagles. They'll try to make it 44. They've got 35 in this individual state championship, 8 being of the dual variety, so we'll see if they can add a 36 individual title and banner in that gym, the rafters above Jim Connor's court, getting very full for the Eagles as they won a state championship in football earlier this season. One of those major contributors for that football squad will hit the mats in a moment. Bradley Eaton at 150 pounds gets ready to go. At 150 pounds, Eaton will be taking on Jake Kern of Wadsworth. Kern, his record stands at 39-11 on the season. The senior for Wadsworth will try to hand Eaton his second loss of the tournament format thus far. Just one loss last weekend for Eaton from Perrysburg. That loss came to Winton Denkins of Perrysburg. However, Denkins has already suffered a loss here in this tournament when he was taken down by Eugene Harney of Sycamore. Harney ranked number 2 in the state. Denkins number 1 in the state. Both high-level wrestlers. You expected a close match from those two. Ultimately coming out with it was Eugene Harney. And you take a look at all these wrestlers here today from the Schottenstein Center. Almost all of them have a state ranking. Just so impressive, these semifinal matches. And it'll be very close matches that'll go down to the wire here. Especially, I expect that at 150 pounds between Jake Kern and Bradley Eaton. Kern ranked 6th in the state. As I mentioned earlier, Bradley Eaton ranked number 3 in the state for your St. Edward Eagles. He'll be up next for this Eagle squad. So we've got some updates for you at 138 pounds in the finals. It will be, my apologies, Ryan Bennett taking on Omar Ayub at 138 pounds. Ayub earlier this season was able to defeat Bennett at the Eagles Nest. That was in a tight match. Ayub ultimately came out with a 5-3 decision over Bennett. That was in the semifinals of the state dual tournament. Ayub out of Dublin-Kaufman ranked 3rd in the state. Bennett ranked number 1 in the state. Bennett ranked 3rd in the state. That'll be a very tight match to expect tomorrow evening between Bennett and Ayub. And that being a rematch just adds to the drama of that matchup between Ayub and Bennett. And also, tomorrow night, you'll get a chance to see Cade Brown of your St. Edward Eagles. He'll be taking on Jackson Joy of Wadsworth. Joy, a very impressive wrestler for this Wadsworth squad, ranked number 1 in the state. Cade Brown ranked 4 in the state. So Brown has locked up that state runner-up position at the moment. We'll see if he's able to come away with a state championship here tomorrow from the Schottenstein Center. And now headed on to the mats for your St. Edward Eagles is Bradley Eaton at 150 pounds. He'll be taking on Jake Kern of Wadsworth. And here we go. Eaton, Kearns, 150-pound semifinal. Here we go. Both wrestlers filling out process here early. Works at distance is Eaton. Kern, the number 6 ranked wrestler in the state in the weight class. We're 15 seconds into this first period. A nice shot there from Kern, and he finishes the shot, and a takedown there for Kern here early. It's Jake Kern up 2-0 here early over Bradley Eaton. Eaton suffered his first loss in the state tournament last weekend against Winton Denkins of Perrysburg. Denkins ranked 1st in the state, so you knew it was going to be a difficult match for Eaton, and he'll have his hands full here with Jake Kern. Now working back up to the feet is Eaton, dragged back down by Kern, and wrestlers reset back in the center. 2-0 Kern, a minute 20 left to go here in the first period at 150 pounds. Jake Kern, Bradley Eaton. We continue on here in the first period. And Kern now forced to work from the ankles of Eaton. He'll drag Eaton back down to the mat, and wrestlers will go off the edge of the mat, reset back into the center. Kern will maybe see if he can even ride out this first period here against Eaton. We've got a minute 10 left to go. Hopefully Eaton can try to work for this escape point here from underneath Jake Kern. And Kern now able to flatten out Eaton. Kern working heavy out of this top position against Bradley Eaton. Eaton trying to roll through. Kern rolling with Eaton. 45 seconds left to go now between Kern and Eaton in the first period. Kern continues on top here against Bradley Eaton. Eaton trying to roll through once again. Jake Kern has just been stout here on top, and Eaton was trying to switch the position, but now continues to work out of this bottom position. He tries to work up now. 20 seconds left to go. Kern now forced to work on the leg of Eaton. Eaton trying to reverse the position now. Kern way down on the ankles of Eaton. Now Kern facing the crotch area of Eaton, and there will be the stall warning now on Kern. And now Kern will have to make sure to be active on top with that stall warning. 5 seconds left to go now. 3, 2, and no points awarded late in the period there for Bradley Eaton. Was certainly close. Eaton switched the position right at the end of the round, but was not awarded the points. So it's 2-0. Jake Kern headed into the second period of action. Kern 2, Eaton 0 on your Eagles Sports Network. Thank you for joining us here from the Schottenstein Center. I'm Cody Wagner. I'll be bringing you the remainder of this wrestling action this weekend. Eaton continues to work on top here against Kern. And I love the way this wrestling environment just gets so involved here for their guy. They let him know their appreciation. And we continue on here at 150 pounds between Jake Kern of Wadsworth and Bradley Eaton of St. Edward. Eaton continues to work on top here, 30 seconds into the second period. It's 2-0 Kern. Eaton continues to be heavy on top, and it goes without mentioning, one of the more underrated top games is Bradley Eaton. You really don't speak about it too much, but Eaton has been great on top throughout this season for the Eagles. He's been dominant thus far on top against Jake Kern. Minute 10 left to go now here in the second period. This would be huge for Bradley Eaton if he's able to ride out the period. He'll see if he can get a turn going. Eaton continues heavy on top, potentially looking for a bar over on the left side. He's off to the right side of Kern for the moment. Manipulating that right side of Kern is Eaton. He's on that single leg ride for the moment, trying to roll through his Kern. Eaton follows him, and wrestlers go off the edge of the mat here. 35 seconds now left to go here in this second period between Bradley Eaton and Jake Kern. Eaton wrestling for this St. Edward Eagles squad. Kern for Wadsworth. This is a semifinal match here at 150 pounds. And now you kind of recognize how huge that first period takedown was for Kern. We'll see if Eaton can get any points here late in the second period of action. 15 seconds now left to go here between Kern and Eaton in the second period. It's 2-0 Kern, and a stall warning on Eaton now. 11 seconds left to go now. Both wrestlers have a stall warning. Eaton continues to remain on top here at the end of the second period. 3 seconds now left to go. And Eaton able to ride out the second period. It'll be the choice of Bradley Eaton. He'll go down to begin this third period of action. It's 2-0 Jake Kern. So you got to keep in mind Jake Kern has the stall warning. Now it's the escape point from Eaton. Kern has got to stay active or he's going to get another stall warning and a point will be awarded to Eaton. We've got a minute 45 left to go. A shot here from Kern. Eaton defending this well and now is working out of this front headlock. He's going to try to spin around to the back. He's kind of got an angle there. Kern continues to hold on to the leg of Eaton. And now trying to elevate Eaton is Kern. And the stalemate call comes quickly here. And we'll reset back in the center. We've got a minute 30 left to go here between Eaton and Kern at 150 pounds. Kern 2, Eaton 1 on the Eagles Sports Network. Only point for Eaton coming here in this third period with that escape point early in the period. And it was a single leg shot from Eaton, then tried to go to duck under, but Kern able to evade that shot from Eaton. And so Kern now potentially has a problem with the shoulder, it appeared, for a moment. He got a minute 10 left to go here between Eaton and Kern. We'll see what Eaton can get going here late in the third period. We got a minute left to go now here between Kern and Eaton. Single leg shot now from Kern. He tries to switch off to the double. Eaton doing a good job of defending. He's going to try to spin around to the back. Kern continuing to hang on to the leg of Eaton. Eaton's got to break that grip of Kern if he wants to try to get this takedown. 40 seconds left to go now between Eaton and Kern. Eaton might find himself in a spot where he can get a takedown, and he does. A big takedown late for Bradley Eaton. He was able to unhook that leg, and now Eaton finds himself on top. It's 3-2 Bradley Eaton. We've got 20 seconds left to go. And a stall warning will come on Kern on bottom. It will now be 4-2 Eaton here late in this match. And Bradley Eaton will ride out the match, and he'll get claps over there from that Eagles bench. A big win for your St. Edward Eagles. Bradley Eaton coming through late with a big takedown in the match. It was a shot from Kern, well defended from Bradley Eaton, and found himself on top of the position. Eaton was able to sprawl, fought off the single leg shot, broke the grip, and was able to come out on top. Bradley Eaton punches his ticket into the final tomorrow night. And actually something very interesting you're going to see at 126 pounds tomorrow night. This isn't something that happens very often, but two wrestlers that were in the same section are going to face off in the state championship tomorrow night at 126 pounds. It'll be Phoenix Contos of Toledo weight. He'll be taking on Ryan Avalos of Perrysburg. But for your Eagles, they have looked phenomenal here tonight. They've already sent 5 wrestlers through 2 championship matches tomorrow night. Carson Brown at 113 pounds. He'll get the rematch against Kion McKinney of Elyria. At 106 pounds, it'll be Ethan Timar for the Eagles. He'll get a rematch against Ryland Seacrest, the number 2 ranked wrestler in the state at 106 pounds. Then at 132 pounds, Cade Brown will get a chance to take on the number 1 ranked wrestler in the state, Jackson Joy of Wadsworth. Up at 138, it'll be Ryan Bennett in a rematch against Omar Ayub. Then at 150 pounds, Bradley Eaton, he'll be taking on the winner of Eugene Harney and Christian Giltz at 150 pounds. No Eagles wrestlers out on the mats at the moment. The 150-pound wrestler for Maslin Perry, Christian Giltz, over on mat number 3. He is taking on Eugene Harney of Sycamore. And when you talk about these matches here at the state level, it's just so high level, and these matches come down to generally takedowns late in the matches. It takes these wrestlers a while to figure each other out, just as you saw with Bradley Eaton at 150 pounds, but ultimately got the takedown late in that match and was able to secure the decision in that one. It was a 3-2 decision, and he kind of felt that ability to ride out the second period for Eaton was going to come up huge, and it did for Bradley Eaton at 150 pounds, where he got the takedown by freeing his leg. It was hooked by the opposing wrestler he was taking on. That was Jake Kern of Wadsworth. Kern was unable to hold on to that leg. Eaton broke the grip and ultimately came out on top for that takedown and was able to secure the match because of that. Bradley Eaton will be in the finals here tomorrow from the Schottenstein Center. So 5 Eagles in the finals, a very encouraging sign. They've got a chance for 2 more later with Jarrell Miller at 175 pounds and Johnny Slaper at 190 pounds for the Eagles. And what an opportunity the Eagles have in trying to take this state championship here from the Schottenstein Center. If they were able to send 7 wrestlers through to the state championship match, at that point they'd essentially have it locked up. It's been phenomenal performances thus far from the Eagles. A huge fall earlier from Ethan Timar, locked up a far side, rather a cross-body cradle. It was a stand-up attempt from the opposing wrestler. That was Huggy Williams of Olentangy Liberty. The highly ranked wrestler from Liberty just allowed too much time for Timar to lock up that cradle, and he did so and was able to find the fall. And based on the result for Timar, you kind of think somehow he got lucky against the number 6 ranked wrestler in the state in Huggy Williams, but no luck at all, as earlier in the season he pulled off that same move against Ryland Seacrest. Seacrest went to the stand-up. Timar was working out of that front headlock, immediately locked up the cradle and worked Seacrest to his back for a fall. Did the same exact thing here tonight against Huggy Williams. So when you see that move happen, you might think he's just working off instinct, but that is certainly a high-level move for Ethan Timar that he has on lock. And we'll see if he pulls it out once again against Ryland Seacrest when he sees him tomorrow in the state championship match at 106 pounds. And this is such a unique opportunity, them adding these girls' weight classes here in the state championship and state tournament. So we've got 8 mats going, 2 for Division I, 2 for Division II, 2 for Division III, then 2 for the girls wrestling state championships. So super interesting to give the girls a chance to make it down here to states in wrestling. The Eagles have wrestled very well here from Columbus. And we'll see if they're ultimately able to come away with a state championship here tomorrow from the Schottenstein Center. And it certainly looks good thus far for your St. Edward Eagles. With that, we will take a quick moment here on the Eagles Sports Network. We'll be back with you in a moment. Hello and welcome back inside the Eagles Sports Network. We continue on here from the Schottenstein Center. No Eagles wrestlers out on the mats at the moment. And I'm Cody Wagner here on the Eagles Sports Network. I'll be here with you for the remainder of this wrestling action here tonight into tomorrow night in those finals matches, along with the consolation semifinals and placement matches tomorrow. Those will be very exciting matches, along with the finals matches tomorrow, which Eagles have already punched 5 tickets into those finals matches for tomorrow night. Those wrestlers that are going to be competing in the finals tomorrow night are Ethan Timar at 106 pounds. Carson Brown at 113 pounds. Up at 132 pounds for the Eagles will be Cade Brown in the finals. At 138 for the Eagles, it'll be Ryan Bennett. Then at 150 pounds, it'll be Bradley Eaton for your St. Edward Eagles tomorrow night from the Schottenstein Center. And officially, he will be taking on Eugene Harney of Sycamore. Harney ranked number 2 in the state at 150 pounds. He has been wrestling exceptionally here for this Sycamore squad. It'll be interesting between the number 2 and 3 ranked guys in the state at 150 pounds. Eugene Harney and Bradley Eaton will duke it out tomorrow night at 150 pounds. No Eagle wrestlers out on the mats at the moment. Next up for your Eagle squad will be Jarrell Miller, but I'll bring you this action here at 165 pounds. It'll be one of the better wrestlers in the state. It's Joey Blaze here for Perrysburg over on mat number 4. He is taking on Isaiah Schlegel of Toledo Whitmer. Looking for an early takedown here is Blaze. And able to secure the early takedown is Joey Blaze, older brother of Marcus Blaze. Joey, a 2-time state champion. He'll try to make it 3 here from the Schottenstein Center tomorrow night. Has not suffered a single loss this season. Record stands at 40-0. He's ranked number 1 in the state at 165 pounds, and there's really been no one to challenge him thus far. He has been so dominant over this 165-pound division for this Perrysburg squad. Taking on Isaiah Schlegel of Whitmer. He's looking for his second takedown of the match is Blaze, and Blaze secures it over on the edge of the mat, and they'll reset back in the center. A minute left to go here in the first period between Blaze and Schlegel. Joey Blaze now to cover here for Perrysburg. He works out of this top position, and he'll let Schlegel back up. And the escape point will now be awarded to Isaiah Schlegel of Toledo Whitmer. It's 4-2 now, Joey Blaze. He'll work a heavy and active pace here early against Schlegel. We've got 45 seconds left to go now in the first period. Next up at 175 pounds for your St. Edward Eagles will be Jarrell Miller. Joey Blaze now gets yet another takedown. He's up 6-2 over Isaiah Schlegel. 6-3 now with that escape point from Schlegel. Blaze allowed him back up to the feet. And it's really disappointing to see a kid like Joey Blaze, who's now up 8-3 with a strong double leg takedown, that he can't be a 4-time state champ due to the fact that he was unable to wrestle in his freshman year because of COVID-19. But in the 2 years that he has been able to wrestle, has been a state champ, he'll try to do it for the 3rd time in a row here in his senior season. Certainly a disappointment that he didn't get a wrestle in this state tournament his freshman season. However, his younger brother Marcus Blaze will get a chance to continue on the family legacy and will have hopes of being a 4-time state champion for that Perrysburg squad, who has surged to near the top of the rankings in the state of Ohio over these last couple seasons. Last year were the runner-ups to your St. Edward Eagles. Likely to be a similar result here in this 2022-23 season. as Blaze now gets the escape point to begin the second period. It's 9-3. Joey Blaze is up in this match. And he secures yet another takedown. 11-3 Blaze. Now make it 11-4 Blaze with the escape from Schlegel. Blaze has just been working at a crazy pace here early against Isaiah Schlegel. We've got 1:30 left to go between Blaze and Schlegel, and looking for a big throw over on the edge of the mat is Joey Blaze. And it'll remain in neutral position here. Wrestlers worked off the edge of the mat, so Schlegel and Blaze will go back into the center. 1:20 left to go in the second period between Isaiah Schlegel and Joey Blaze. And this Blaze family has just been so impressive for this Perrysburg squad. Now 13-4 Blaze, make it 13-5 Joey Blaze. Blaze was looking for a throw over on the edge of the mat, was trying to work off that underhook, but wrestlers work off the edge of the mat there, reset back into the center. We've got about a minute left to go here now. Another takedown there, make it 15-5 Blaze, now 15-6 with that escape point there from Schlegel. And I wanted to bring you this action to show you just how special of a wrestler Joey Blaze is. He is up 17-6 here over Isaiah Schlegel. Ty Miller lost a decision to Joey Blaze last weekend, but certainly not a match you would expect Miller to win. You would hope that Miller was able to wrestle a close match, which he was last weekend, but Joey Blaze, just such a high-level wrestler for this Perrysburg squad. He's up 17-7 against Isaiah Schlegel and gets another takedown, make it 19-7 Joey Blaze. And you can just not expect, you cannot expect your wrestler to win when he's taking on Joey Blaze. This kid is just so talented. Gets the 2 back points now, make it 21-7 Blaze. 3 seconds left to go now in the second period. That'll bring us to the end of the second period between Joey Blaze and Isaiah Schlegel. And now they'll take a quick break between periods. We're headed on to the third period between Joey Blaze and Isaiah Schlegel. This Blaze family has just produced a number of talented wrestlers for this Perrysburg squad. Marcus Blaze, Joey Blaze, both have the opportunities to become multiple-time state champions. Joey trying to do it for his 3rd time here this year. Marcus trying to make it his 2nd state title. Marcus did it last year in his 2nd year alongside brother Joey, who did it in his junior year last season. Blaze now would just need a takedown to try to get the technical fall here against Schlegel. There's 1:50 left to go between Blaze and Schlegel. And certainly you would think possibly Blaze looks for a move where he could potentially look for a fall right off a takedown. So we'll see if he goes to one of those throws that he's shown early in this match. He looked for outside trip there for a moment. Now 1:15 left to go between Schlegel and Blaze. And now Schlegel looking for a takedown. And Blaze didn't want to secure the takedown. He certainly could have had one over on the edge of the mat, but choosing to let Schlegel wrestle on here and trying to work for a fall is Joey Blaze. Not content with just a technical fall, seemingly, as he now tries to work double leg up to the body, and trying to work for the fall was Joey Blaze. And there's the technical fall for Joey Blaze, 23-8. Joey Blaze for that Perrysburg squad. He'll be headed on to the finals tomorrow night. Perrysburg likely to be the team most closely in contention with your St. Edward Eagles. Eagles have looked great thus far tonight from the Schottenstein Center. We've still got quarterfinal consolation matches to wrestle. We'll bring those to you later tonight on the Eagles Sports Network. In those matches, you'll get a chance to see Ty Miller at 165 pounds. At 144 pounds, it'll be Lucan O'Brien for the Eagles. Then at 126 pounds, it'll be Joe Sandifer for your St. Edward Eagles. So those will be the Eagle wrestlers later tonight in those consolation quarterfinal matches. In the championship quarterfinal match, you'll get to see at 75 pounds up next, Jarrell Miller for the Eagles, 175-pounder. Miller, he'll be taking on Luke Vanadia of Brecksville. Vanadia and Miller familiar with each other. They got a chance to wrestle at the state dual championship earlier this year. It was ultimately a 7-3 decision over, rather, my apologies, it was a 7-3 decision over Evan Rizzo of Brecksville for Jarrell Miller. Last season, Miller was able to get my apologies. That was last season that he got the decision over Rizzo. And this season, it was an 8-5 decision over Vanadia. My apologies on the confusion on that. 8-5 decision over Luke Vanadia earlier this season for Jarrell Miller. Vanadia ranked third in the state at 175 pounds, so will certainly be an interesting matchup between Miller and Vanadia when they lock up at 175 pounds. We'll see if Miller's once again able to come away with victory over Luke Vanadia. Certainly wasn't a blowout by Miller the first time, but was a solid victory, was able to get takedowns when he needed them in that first match against Vanadia earlier this season. And the wrestlers over on mat 3, there's a fall there. And so up now will be Jarrell Miller here for your St. Edward Eagles. Here we go. Doesn't get much better than this. Number 2 and number 3 in the state facing off in the semifinals. Jarrell Miller, Luke Vanadia at 175 pounds. Here we go. With that handshake, we are underway between Miller and Vanadia. Now this front headlock from Miller for a moment. Let's go of that. Now wrestlers work out at distance. We're 15 seconds into this match. Wrestlers now tie up in the upper body. Collar ties now. Now they split apart. I saw on Flow Wrestling last night, it was a great misdirection low single for Jarrell Miller last night. Found himself on that Flow Wrestling page. A great takedown rather from Miller last night. We've got 1:20 now left to go in this first period. Certainly a more measured pace from Miller than the first time he took on Vanadia at the Eagles' Nest. Now trying to battle for underhook position over on the right side where Miller and Vanadia for a moment. We've now got 50 seconds left to go in the first period between Vanadia and Miller. 40 seconds now between Miller and Vanadia. Wrestlers work at distance. We'll see if Miller gets some offense going here late in the period. 30 seconds now. There's a nice single leg. He'll try to work off to the double. Now we'll raise it up and try to kick out that back leg. And the takedown awarded to Jarrell Miller over on the edge of the mat. It looked like he was going to try to work it off to the far hip. Instead, raised the single leg up and was able to kick out the back leg of Vanadia. Now he goes up 2-0. 20 seconds now left to go between Jarrell Miller and Luke Vanadia here at 175 pounds. Miller now on top here. 20 seconds left to go. He'll try to drag Vanadia back down to the mat. He's down to the leg of Vanadia, and he drags him back down. Now he works on top here. 10 seconds left to go. And Jarrell Miller will be able to ride out the first period for your St. Edward Eagles. 2-0, Jarrell Miller. It'll be the choice of Vanadia. He'll defer, and he will go down. Rather, Miller will now go down. Vanadia deferred. And with Miller up 2-0, he'll try to get this escape point to begin the second period. Vanadia will need a takedown if he has any hopes of trying to come back against Jarrell Miller. Certainly also has the option of back points, but you got to think that that route might be even more difficult here against the highly ranked wrestler in Jarrell Miller. Miller, number 2. Luke Vanadia, 3 in the state. Miller up to the feet now, and he'll break the grip of Vanadia and is awarded the escape point. 3-0 here. Jarrell Miller trying to work around to the back was Vanadia. He snapped down Miller, wasn't able to get around. Miller did a good job securing the underhook on the left side and was able to fight off that go behind from Luke Vanadia. Now upper body tie up here. Neither wrestler really in an advantageous spot here between Vanadia and Miller. Miller feints a single leg shot. Miller, it seemed like, was thinking about a duck under there for a moment. Didn't fully commit to that shot. We've got 50 seconds left to go now here between Jarrell Miller and Luke Vanadia. Miller was a runner-up in his freshman season. He'll try to come through at 175 pounds in his sophomore campaign here for the Eagles. 40 seconds left to go now in the second period between Vanadia and Miller. Miller up by a score of 3-0 over Luke Vanadia. Miller has a chance at a rematch in that finals match if he's able to come away with victory here against Vanadia. Vanadia in on a double leg shot. Miller defending this well, wrapped around the body of Vanadia. He sat down to his right hip. Vanadia trying to turn the corner. Miller doing a good job of hanging on to this position for the moment. And Vanadia now trying to spin back into Miller. And that'll be it for the second period. Miller able to defend that takedown here. It'll be Miller 3, Vanadia 0 headed in to this third period. It'll be Vanadia on bottom now here against Jarrell Miller to begin the final period of action. 2 minutes left to go here between Luke Vanadia and Jarrell Miller. The caution coming on Luke Vanadia. Vanadia immediately pops back up to the feet. Miller drags him back down to the mat. Miller controlling on top here against Vanadia. Vanadia trying to build back up. Miller knocks out the arm of Vanadia. Controlling on top here is Jarrell Miller for your St. Edward Eagles. We've got 1:30 left to go now in the third period of action between Luke Vanadia and Jarrell Miller. Miller heavy on top here against Vanadia. Hasn't been the most active thus far. Referee calling for action from Miller. Vanadia now goes to the stand-up. Miller goes back down to the leg of Vanadia. He's now in on a single leg. Miller still in control, drags Vanadia back down to the mat, able to kick out that back leg of Vanadia. Minute left to go now between Miller and Vanadia. Miller up 3-0 in this match over Luke Vanadia. Miller actually took second place last weekend from Perrysburg. Lost a decision to Miles Tackett of Perrysburg. That was a close decision between Miller and Tackett. Miller will likely get an opportunity to face off against Miles Tackett again tomorrow night, and we will bring in the mat number 4 action. It's Johnny Slaper over on mat number 4. He's at 0-0 at 190 pounds. He is taking on Wyatt Ferguson of Oak Hills. Record for Ferguson stands at 42-1 on the season. Jarrell Miller will try to ride out this remaining 30 seconds against Luke Vanadia, who he drags back down to the mat here. That's the end of the first period between Slaper and Ferguson. And encouraging his wrestler is head coach John Heffernan, and there's the stall warning on Miller on top, and the point is awarded to Luke Vanadia. So this makes it interesting. 3-1 Miller, but an escape point from Vanadia ties it up. Slaper trying to get the escape point over there on mat number 4. Ferguson was able to drag him back down to the mat. Now Slaper hips above Ferguson for the moment, and Jarrell Miller able to ride out the third period and comes away with the win over Luke Vanadia of Brecksville. Jarrell Miller headed on to the finals tomorrow night for your St. Edward Eagles. Slaper continues on over on mat number 4. He's taking on Wyatt Ferguson of Oak Hills. Ferguson ranked 3rd in the state. Slaper ranked 7th in the state. But if you ask me, Slaper, this a kid criminally underrated for the skills he possesses for this Eagles squad. There's a reason he's in this semifinal match for your St. Edward Eagles. And it looked like Ferguson was trying to switch over to Cradle, but that ultimately worked Slaper down flat to the mat. Slaper now working back up to that quad pod. And wrestlers work off the edge of the mat. Minute 5 seconds left to go now between Slaper and Ferguson. Slaper's so heavy on top for the Eagles squad. He finds himself in this bottom position in the second period. That was the choice from Slaper to begin the second period. A minute left to go now here between Johnny Slaper and Wyatt Ferguson. Now trying to break the grip is Slaper. He's back up to the feet, and he secures the escape point here against Wyatt Ferguson. Wrestlers now work back at distance here. 45 seconds left to go. And if you put Slaper on top in that third period, there's a good chance you aren't getting out from underneath. So we'll see if Ferguson is able to attack and work for a late takedown here in the third period. And Ferguson worked those double underhooks. He raised him up and looked for a trip, but that was over on the edge of the mat, and wrestlers reset back into the center here. 30 seconds left to go between Slaper and Ferguson at 190 pounds. Slaper and Ferguson in locked-in battle here at 190 pounds. 10 seconds now left to go between Slaper and Ferguson in the second period. Slaper desperately trying to hold on to the leg of Ferguson, who's trying to work around to the back of Slaper. Slaper now was able to roll over to his right hip and was potentially working for his own takedown, but Time will run out on the second period. 1-0 Slaper headed into the third period. Here we go, getting ready for the third period. Slaper 1, Ferguson 0 here on the Eagles Sports Network. I'm Cody Wagner here from the Schottenstein Center. Slaper now works on top, forced to drop down the leg of Ferguson, and now Ferguson able to get the reversal here. Was able to quickly find himself on the back of Johnny Slaper. And it just seemed like Slaper got a little high and out in front and was able to sneak out the back door was Ferguson. And so he got the reversal there early in the third period. We've got 1:45 now left to go in the third period. Johnny Slaper just needs the escape point if he has hopes of trying to tie this match. And Slaper gets the point now. It all comes down to a takedown here between your Eagles' Johnny Slaper and Wyatt Ferguson of Oak Hills. Ferguson, the senior, Slaper, the junior here for the Eagles. He's also part of that linebacker crew for the Eagles football team. We'll see what he can do here at 190 pounds for your St. Edward Eagles. Score tied at 2-2 between Ferguson and Slaper. Slaper had a moment where he could have worked around to the back, and there's a takedown for Ferguson. He worked out of the double underhooks and got the trip. It was an outside trip right there from Ferguson. Went behind the left foot of Slaper, and now he's up 4-2. Slaper will either need a reversal or an escape and a takedown. He's got 50 seconds left to go now here against Ferguson of Oak Hills. Slaper's got to get something going here late in this match if he's got any hopes of punching his ticket into the finals tomorrow. Ferguson getting a little high. He's on the back of Slaper. Slaper going to stand up, and we'll get a stalemate. I thought we were going to get a stalemate call, rather. No call from the referee. And I believe an issue with the headgear there for Ferguson. And score will remain 4-2 here, Wyatt Ferguson. And I believe it was the headgear of Wyatt Ferguson that is causing issues at the moment. We'll take a brief pause here in this action between Wyatt Ferguson and Johnny Slaper. We've got about 40 seconds left to go here at 190 pounds. And here we go. Both wrestlers make their way out on the mats. My apologies. 23 seconds left to go here between Slaper and Ferguson. 20 seconds now left. Slaper works back to the quad pod, now trying to break the grip of Ferguson is Slaper, and Slaper gets the escape point right on the edge of the mat. Wasn't quite sure if the ref was going to award him the point. He ultimately does. 13 seconds now left to go. Oak Hills coach is wondering why they awarded the point to Slaper. Rather, they did not award the escape point to Slaper. It was Eagles coaches protesting that call. My apologies. It appeared as though he raised the point for Slaper, but referee not giving Slaper the point. Johnny Slaper now needs a takedown here. 5 seconds left to go now here against Ferguson. And Wyatt Ferguson is going to come away with victory here against Johnny Slaper. And Wyatt Ferguson will be headed on to the state championship match tomorrow night at 190 pounds. Johnny Slaper will head on to the consolation semifinals tomorrow afternoon from the Schottenstein Center. I'm Cody Wagner here on the Eagles Sports Network. That'll be it for the Eagles in the semifinals matches, as both Balin Waugh and Nate Gregory are out of the tournament due to early losses. And so neither of those wrestlers will be able to compete for the remainder of this tournament. But later tonight, you will get a chance to see Joe Sandifer at 126 pounds for the Eagles in the consolation bracket. Also for the Eagles in the consolation bracket will be Lucan O'Brien at 144 pounds. Then for the Eagles at 165 pounds, it'll be twin of Jarrell Miller, Ty Miller, wrestling in that 165-pound match. We'll bring you that action a little later here on the Eagles Sports Network. We'll catch you up once those consolation matches begin. But for the moment, we will take a brief pause here on the Eagles Sports Network.
6-2, huh, Cody?
Yep.
Who's doing the Consi? You know what's going on.
What was it?
Who you got wrestling?
It's Sandifer at 126 pounds, then McBurney at 144, and Timar at 65.
What's the team over? Have you got Butler?
I don't think they have the team score.
It should update.
Hello and welcome back in. We are here at the Schottenstein Center here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm Cody Wagner here on the Eagles Sports Network. We've got this wrestling action here, and now it's the consolation quarterfinal matches. This is all we've got left to go here tonight from the Schottenstein Center. I'm Cody Wagner here on the Eagles Sports Network. We've got 3 matches left to bring to you of your Eagles wrestlers. It'll be Joe Sandifer at 126 pounds. After that, we'll have Lucan O'Brien up at 144 pounds for the Eagles. And capping off the night will be Ty Miller at 165 pounds for your St. Edward Eagles. With that, I'd like to give you some of the updates in team scoring at the moment. The scores stand at 161.5 for your Eagles. They are in the lead at the moment and have a chance to even raise that lead with sending 6 guys through to championship matches tomorrow. They hold the lead over Perrysburg, who has a score at 118. Then the team score for Brecksville stands at 95.5. For Wadsworth, 72. And rounding out the top 5 is Maslin Perry at 57.5. So your St. Edward Eagles lead by 43 points over Perrysburg at the moment. The Eagles have a chance to widen that margin tomorrow with those championship matches and have more wrestlers in those finals matches tomorrow than that Perrysburg squad does. Perrysburg, I believe, just sending 3 wrestlers through to the championship matches tomorrow evening. Marcus Blaze at 120 pounds for Perrysburg. Rather, it'll be 4 wrestlers. Ryan Avalos at 126 pounds. Then all the way up at 165 pounds for that Perrysburg team is Joey Blaze, brother of Marcus Blaze. Then it'll be Miles Tackett for Perrysburg up at 175 pounds. So it will be 4 wrestlers in those finals matches tomorrow for Perrysburg, 6 for the Eagles. So it'll be interesting to see how those matches go tomorrow here from the Schottenstein Center. I'll have that action for you on the Eagles Sports Network. This Eagles wrestling dynasty really unmatched here in the state of Ohio. Max Preps ranked the top 20 dynasties across the nation over the last 20 years. Your Eagles wrestling program was ranked 11th on that list. So dominance for this Eagles squad over these last 20 years is kind of an understatement. Just no team really able to even contend with this Eagles squad for the last even 30 years since Howard Ferguson took over the program from Joe Figler, who had started the program. Then from there, Coach Greg Urbis really made it into the beast that it is today, off the backs of a strong foundation from Howard Ferguson, who started the tradition of winning state championships. Really, whenever you talk to Coach Urbis, he always gives all credit to Howard Ferguson, but Coach Urbis was a huge part in continuing the success of this program that he's now handed off to head coach John Heffernan. And Coach Heff has continued this dominant streak for the Eagles. And when I spoke to him ahead of that district meet last weekend, all he said was he wanted to send 14 wrestlers through to states, and he thought that'd give him a good chance to win states. He sent 14 wrestlers through, and at the moment, the Eagles have a commanding hold on this state championship. certainly will be very difficult for Perrysburg to try to take that lead from the Eagles. In this format, you score points based on your placement coupled with how you win these matches. So major decisions, technical falls do matter in this format. So for the Eagles, Ethan Timar earlier, that fall in the semifinal match was huge for him, where he came up with that crossbody cradle when his opponent, Huggy Williams, went to the stand-up. That was huge earlier today for the Eagles. Next up for the Eagles will be Joe Sandifer at 126 pounds. Sandifer, a very high-level wrestler for this Eagle squad. He was able to knock off the #1 ranked wrestler in the state at 126 pounds last weekend. That's Phoenix Contos, but was unable to ultimately make it to the finals match at 126 pounds. He lost a close match to Austin McBurney of Maslin Perry. Then McBurney lost to Phoenix Contos. So this 126-pound division, so close up at the top. Really no room for any type of mess up at that 126-pound weight class. And Phoenix Contos came away with victory earlier today. He's taking on Ryan Avalos of Perrysburg, who Sandifer ultimately lost to in the district final last weekend. Sandifer next up is taking on Jaden Cochran of Miamisburg. Cochran, his record stands at 37-1 on the season. He lost an 8-3 decision to Phoenix Contos of Toledo weight. For Miamisburg, Cochran ranked 5th in the state. So certainly these 126-pounders getting a chance to wrestle all the top competition. Contos, Avalos, Sandifer, McBurney, Cochran, all facing each other early at this state championship level. Sandifer in the consolation quarterfinals will get a chance to go up against the #5 ranked in the state, Jaden Cochran, in just a moment. Until Sandifer hits the mats for this Eagle squad, we will take a brief pause here on the Eagles Sports Network. We'll be back with you in a moment. Joe Sandifer to come. Hello and welcome back inside the Eagles Sports Network here from the Schottenstein Center here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm Cody Wagner here to bring you this action on the Eagles Sports Network. We've got your 126-pound consolation action. It's Joe Sandifer here for your St. Edward Eagles. He's taking on Jaden Cochran of Miamisburg. Record for Cochran stands at 37-1 on the season. For Sandifer, his record stands at 26-9 on the season. Certainly not going to be an easy one here for Sandifer. Cochran ranked 5th in the state, but Joe Sandifer, a high-level wrestler in his own right. He's ranked 3rd in the state at 126 pounds. Sandifer, Cochran, 126 pounds. Here we go. Wrestlers measure each other up here early. Working at distance are both wrestlers. Now they tie up, looking for wrist control now with Sandifer. And Sandifer now works out a front headlock. Kind of snatched that front headlock position. Was working on wrist control. Did a good job to quickly get to that front headlock. He's got 1:30 left to work now in the first period. Still 0-0 between Cochran and Sandifer. 1:25 now left to go in this first period. Sandifer working out of the front headlock position. And we'll get the stalemate call here. Not much doing there for Sandifer, and so reset back in the center. 0-0 here between Cochran and Sandifer. Wrestlers tie up in the upper body here. Sandifer now working out of this front headlock. And that'll be it for the first period of action. Rather, it was just that 1 minute first period. And so we continue on between Sandifer and Cochran's. Score is at 0-0. And now Sandifer starts on top here in this second period. The remainder of these periods will be 2 minutes. So Sandifer now 1:45 left to work. Sandifer continues to work on top of Jaden Cochran. We've got now 1:30 left to go here in the second period of action between Sandifer and Cochran. Sandifer now trying to knock out that back leg of Cochran, who made it back up to the feet. He does so, and the wrestlers work off the edge of the mat. Here, Joe Sandifer in control. Score remains at 0-0. 1:15 left to go in the second period between Joe Sandifer and Jaden Cochran. Cochran out of Miamisburg. He's the junior. Sandifer just the sophomore for this Eagles squad. And Joe Sandifer going to this tilt. He's getting back points, and he'll be awarded the 2 back points from the referee once he gives up that position. And now 50 seconds left to work here in the second period for Joe Sandifer. Sandifer heavy on top here against the wrestler from Miamisburg. Cochran unable to work out of this bottom position thus far. Sandifer up 2-0 here, 40 seconds left to go now in the second period. Sandifer will go on top here as the wrestlers worked off the mat there. And now it's Sandifer controlling top position here against the 5th-ranked wrestler, Jaden Cochran. And you knew this was going to be a tough match here for Sandifer, but those 2 back points providing him a cushion. We'll see if he's able to ride out this second period. He's up 2-0, 15 seconds left to go now. Cochran has been unable to build the base thus far. Sandifer controlling the position here. And once again going to this tilt to Sandifer, and that'll bring us to the end of the second period. Joe Sandifer 2, Jaden Cochran 0 here on the Eagles Sports Network. Now Sandifer will have to work out a bottom position. It'll be Cochran on top here. Sandifer builds up to that quad pod, now back up to the feet, and the escape point here for Joe Sandifer, make it 3-0 Sandifer. Joe Sandifer now up by a score of 3-0 over Jaden Cochran. Now wrestlers tie up here, working out of this front headlock once again is Joe Sandifer. We'll see if he can get around to the back for a takedown. We've got 1:30 now left to go here in the third period between Sandifer and Cochran. Now both wrestlers back up on the feet here, 3-0 Sandifer. 1:10 now left to go here in the third period between Sandifer and Cochran. Wrestlers getting close over to the edge of the mat, and they'll reset him back into the center. It's 3-0 Sandifer here on the Eagles Sports Network. I'm Cody Wagner here from the Schottenstein Center here in Columbus, Ohio. It's Joe Sandifer taking on Jaden Cochran. Wrestlers work at distance now. We've got 15 seconds left to go now. It's 3-0 Sandifer here. Wrestlers work over near the edge of the mat. Here's a single leg shot from Cochran. Rolling through that position was Sandifer. He rolled down to the leg of Cochran. Rather, we've got 31 seconds left to go. My apologies, folks. Way up here in the Schottenstein Center. Sometimes difficult to see that clock. There's a takedown late in this match. 20 seconds left to go. Up 5-0 now is Joe Sandifer. Now just 5 seconds remain here. Score is 5-0 Sandifer here late. And that'll be it. Joe Sandifer headed on to the consolation semifinal tomorrow night. Next up for the Eagles at 144 pounds will be Lucan O'Brien. Before that match, we will take a brief pause here on the Eagles Sports Network. O'Brien next to come.